First Peter chapter 3, wives and husbands. Wives, in the same way, be submissive to your husbands, so that if any of them do not believe the word, they may be won over without words by the behavior of their wives. When they see the purity and reverence of your lives, your beauty should not come from outward adornment, such as braided hair and the wearing of gold jewelry and fine clothes. Instead, it should be that of your inner self, the unfading beauty of a gentle and quiet spirit, which is of great worth in God's sight. For this is the way the holy women of the past, who put their hope in God, used to make themselves beautiful. They were submissive to their own husbands, like Sarah, who obeyed Abraham and called him her master. You are her daughters if you do what is right and do not give way to fear. Husbands, in the same way, be considerate as you live with your wives, and treat them with respect as the weaker partner and as heirs with you of the gracious gift of life, so that nothing will hinder your prayers. I know. Another portion there's going to be. So let's read this in the spirit, because we've done through this debate before as well. I know we talked about this before, but listen to what Peter says, because this is really important. Okay. Where he goes on, instead, it should be that of your inner self, the unfading beauty of a gentle and quiet spirit, which is of great worth in God's sight. Exactly. So we to live in the spirit. Remember, the spirit, eternal, and it's youthful, and it is of love, and it is growing into youth. It is eternal. It is the gift from God. It is wisdom from the Lord and our Savior, telling everyone. And he's telling, in particular here, women who are wives to their husband. He's saying that because when he says right here, he says, wives, in the same way, be submissive to your husbands, so that if any of them do not believe the word, they may be won over without words by the behavior of their wives. So if you don't have any sway or authority or anything, right? How could you win someone over? That's why when we think about things in humanistic terms, we think about it in earthly humanistic terms and not in the spirit, not what the Holy Word is telling us. And then it goes on to say, for men too, husbands, in the same way, be considerate as you live with your wives, and treat them with respect as the weaker partner and as heirs with you of the gracious gift of life, so that nothing will hinder your prayers. People get caught up on words and not going to the spirit and actually understanding what those words are. Because remember, these words have been translated from Hebrew, Aramaic, Greek. So going directly to the spirit and finding out what the Lord has in store for you in your life, because you may not be a wife. There were times where people throughout the Bible were not married, but were utilized. Naomi, she was married, but she was a widow. There were people who are in the Bible that there was, in fact, there was a prophetess that was a prophetess. I do not believe, according to the word, was married, but she had dedicated her life to Christ, to God at the time, because it was an Old Testament, and she had dedicated, but she ended up being a person who led Israel, or was one of those people that was looked on to for guidance from the Lord. So in this case, though, when it comes to, let's bring it to another perspective and to point to. And before I do that, though, seek the Lord in his guidance. What kind of thoughts or feelings come to your mind when we read over this? How does it make you feel, and what does it make you think?